Tonight on Country Squire Radio, we're talking censorship. Have we been censored? Has the internet been censored? Has the entire world surrounding pipes and tobacco been censored, or will it be? Probably stick around and we'll talk about it in this episode. Plus, we got a pipe question of the week regarding McClellan swap out blends, as well as quick fire questions, listener feedback, a special guest, and more happening right now on Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Beau.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Beau. Good evening, dude.
Man, good evening to you, sir. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. We a little change up in scenery tonight, right?
Yeah.
We're not at the Country Squire. We're here at PipeTobacco Studios, which is really cool. You know, we started doing this podcast. It's been over 4 years ago now.
That's right.
In the first PipeTobacco Studios, which is now your nursery, I think, right?
Yeah, PipeTobacco Alpha.
Right, PipeTobacco Alpha, right?
Yeah,
right.
The OG studio.
The beta version, and it's much more profestional here, although we do miss your puppy dog kind of scratching at the door when we're in the middle of a show. But man, yeah, your office looks good. We're you got some technical needs tonight that we needed to be here for. So man, good to be down at the old PipeTobacco Studios.
Yeah, man. Well, you're coming down here. You're going all over the place because, of course, as this week progresses, we've got the Chicago Pipe Show.
Dude, I know it is this week, man. It is
that
already
snuck up on us.
Man, it did. It's incredible. There's been so much going on this calendar year so far. That I've kind of let it get lost on me, and it's just bizarre. All of a sudden I look up and start seeing some of my friends in the pipe industry. They're already heading up there. They're going up there right now because there's already some events and different seminars and things of that nature that are happening in Chicago as we speak. And so it's just crazy to see that. And man, we're here. Really really cool factoid. If you're a longtime listener of the show, you probably remember our friend John Michael George. JM George, who is one of the carvers of Rock's pipes. He, Rock's, they haven't done a lot of pipes of late, just because they've had to focus on other things. But John Michael, he's been an avid pipe smoker for over a decade, and also a pipe carver for that long too. And he is for the first time going to get to go to Chicago this year. We're actually going up there together. So really fired up about that. It's gonna be awesome to have John Michael there at the pipe show. So it's cool because first time at the show, he's going to get to interact with people he's literally known for years, for over a decade. But he's never met in person, and so it's going to be cool to see that. And we see that a lot. I've only been a couple times now, obviously, but it's really fun to see folks that well. But just haven't met in person, and you'll see that a lot up there. But really excited, man! It's going to be just a whole bunch of fun. So we'll and I'll probably spend way too much money and have to sneak it through the TSA again. So yeah, it's exciting, man.
Yeah. Okay. So is he actually going to be showcasing anything, or is he just going for networking?
Just going and hang out, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think he's more excited than anything to go see Steve Norris with Vermont Freehand. Of course. Steve and Vermont Freehand, they are one of probably the major supplier of, pipe making material for the U.S. carver market. Yeah, so it's great because when you go to the show, as a pipe carver, you get to dig through, crates and crates of, fresh cut briar. You've got bamboo, rods and rods of ebonite and, Cumberland and just all these, different pipe making. He's got all kinds of buffing wheels, polishing compounds, all the things that you would need to get into pipe making. And so anyway, it's a lot of fun to see. I think the carvers really enjoy getting up there and being able to hand select some of their briar, which is really cool.
That's awesome, man. Yep. Well, I know in years previous, we've done meetups, kind of official Country Squire Radio meetups. Of course, this year not the case. You will be there. I will not be. But I'm putting out the challenge, man, to our listeners going to the Chicago Pipe Show. If you see John David Cole, and trust me, you'll see him. It'll either be you or Mark VV. I don't know if Mark's going or not, but if you do see John David Cole, grab him and take a selfie with him and use the hashtag #FindJD. That's hashtag #FindJD. I will be monitoring Twitter and I will be retweeting this out as I see it.
Do I need to be wearing a red and white striped shirt like Waldo and like maybe my little Harry Potter glasses and a beanie?
Well, I noticed you actually stole my red, white, and blue.
I did. We're kind of having the plaid thing going on tonight. Yeah. So I'll be hiding out kind of amongst the Chicago Pipe Show crowd there. I'm not doing any kind of official events or anything, but I'll be around. So please come up, man. Take some photos. We'd love to say hey to you. You'll notice, and if you've met me in public before, you'll probably remember I'm actually kind of bashful when it comes to these kind of situations.
This is true.
Don't be surprised if I've kind of got my hood up over my head and I'm kind of skulking in the corner somewhere. But anyway, we're really excited, man. I look forward to seeing some of you out there.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so also we got so again, that's just one more time. That's hashtag find JD when you find him
in Chicago.
Yes, sir. All right. So, for those of you who can't be in Chicago, but still kind of part of the community, the ever-growing community of the international Jackson, where we're broadcasting of. No, the International Country Squire Radio Pipe Club.
That's right.
Ever-growing. We've got a new pilgrim joining us for the CSR Pipe Club. Ladies and gentlemen, David Mikhail Lamba.
Right. Lamba. That's right.
I probably should lean into the Lamba.
David Michael Lamb, dude. Man, we are so glad to have you on board, brother. This was such a treat. It was so good to see your name pop up, and man, that's just really, really awesome. So, man,
and this is Lamb, right? I mean, so pulling the curtain back, we know Lamb. If this is the Lamb that we're thinking of,
I think so.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I think so.
There's other lambs out there.
There are
lamb chop.
But
and if this is the lamb I'm thinking of, he would not appreciate the fact that I just made a lamb chop reference.
He would, yeah. He actually may be canceling his membership as we speak, right?
Well, no, man, we
Mike, Michael's a great guy, and gosh, we're really grateful to you. And of course, the Country Squire Radio Pipe Club through Patreon. This is really the main way that you can help support what Beau and I do here at Country Squire Radio. And so we're so grateful for folks that sign up at the Squire or the Pilgrim level. And gosh, there's just some really nice opportunities to plug in there. We're very grateful for that. And anyway, thanks for your help.
And the great thing is by becoming a member, a international club member. Not only do you get some great little digital swag, of course, a big thanks and your name up on the website, you also get access to the Squire Lounge online.
That's right.
Our Facebook group. Now, I've been doing my best to take somewhat of a self-imposed sabbatical from Facebook. I do kind of pop in from time to time.
Yeah.
And man, I saw that Mark VV actually has a kind of a contest going on. On the group.
Yeah. So if you're a Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you're also a Country Squire Radio Pipe Club member, who is a part of our Facebook group on there, you need to go check out Mark's video for details. But he's actually doing a giveaway, which he's really excited about. We are too.
Absolutely,
it's so kind of him, man, and we're thrilled about that. But just check that out. He's got some more details on that. Man, such a vibrant group. We're very thankful for. Yep.
Yes, indeed. So again, check that out on the Facebook group. And if you'd like to become a member, it is patreon.com/Country Squire Radio. And oh my gosh, one last thing before we jump into the topic tonight. I don't know if I've actually shared this on the show. I may have mentioned it last week. But Podastery, my podcasting company, the company that has kind of helped to fuel this podcast, we have been viciously and virally attacked.
Oh yeah,
over the last several.
I forgot this is a thing.
Yeah, man. So Breyer, who of course a good friend of ours, who we've mentioned on the show before, has been graciously helping me try to exorcise the demons, the digital demons that have possessed the website, and we finally got to a point where it was so corrupt. It was going to actually literally cost thousands of dollars to actually get everything fixed and secured. And so it was just one of these things like, I think we're going to have to go nuclear. I think we're going to have to just start from scratch, rip down the website, go completely fresh. Now, the good news.
It's amazing.
The good news to this is
crazy.
As many of you recall, we moved the Country Squire Radio feed several months back. And so from that standpoint,
that's right. Yeah,
this doesn't impact the actual show in terms of content at all. The website, if there are those of you who are tuning into the live show tonight, you may notice the website looks a little bit different. And over time, the website will kind of be a little bit nicer. But at the moment, it's kind of a nice placeholder, a similar format, that sort of thing, with all the exact same information at countrysquireradio.com. But I did also want to mention this because, of course, those of you who are club members, those of you who are also patrons, gain access to our first 100 episodes. As kind of a gift and a thank you for supporting the show. Well, while the new content is on its own hosting platform and not affected, unfortunately, the entire 100 episode archive is on the old hosting client. And so we will be doing what I'm calling a Project Final Exodus, where I am backing up all of the old content and putting it into probably Dropbox temporarily until I can find a new backend to basically just host that content. But anyway, all that to say, there may be, I'll post some things to Patreon and that sort of thing to kind of keep you up with what's going on. So those of you who are listening, that you're kind of going through the backlog of content at the moment, that's not going to impact you, but it will coming soon, and it'll just be kind of a minor nuisance. It's not going away forever, but it may be down for a couple of weeks while I go and repair it. So
okay.
I did want to kind of get that out there.
Yeah, no, that's good. Anytime you're regularly doing podcasts, gosh, you're kind of a slave to the reliability of these the web and our website and all this sort. I don't even know what the terminology to use because I'm so ignorant with all this stuff. I'm sitting over here looking, and Beau's computer screen looks like the doctor's office over here with the little beeper thing tied to someone's heart. Yeah, it just blows my mind what you do every week to make the show happen. So, man, anyway, give us some grace on that. Beau's working really hard along with our team to get all that worked out. But man, we'll be on our full feet very soon.
Well, it's apropos that you say that you don't know much about technology and all of kind of the crazy digital worlds that we live in, because, man, tonight we've got a really, I think, very interesting topic, something that, I think a lot of people are very interested in, and also something that you and I need to learn more about.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when listeners come to Country Squire Radio, they come to us, but let's be serious, they come to you for your knowledge of the industry, for where things are going, what the flavors are, what the latest trends are. They come to you for that. But on occasion, we cover topics that we are not fully equipped to talk about, but yet are important to the community.
No, that's right.
And definitely important to us, and we want to learn more about.
Yeah.
So tonight, the topic we're talking about is censorship, and specifically censorship online with pipes, tobaccos, cigars, kind of the community that surrounds that, some various websites, and kind of where things are at.
Yeah.
And, to talk about this, we really needed somebody who is an expert in the space, someone that we really admire and look up to, especially when it comes kind of to the digital realm, all the way from Austin, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the designer of the Country Squire Radio pipe mic.
Yeah, he is, and he's one of our longest time friends here at Country Squire Radio, all the way from the beginning. Yeah,
man, he's an OG listener, somebody we greatly respect and look up to and admire the work that he's done, not just for us, but also for various shops and just the industry as a whole.
Yeah,
he's constantly looking for new ways to help the tobacco fuel or tobacco outlets kind of update their sites and look good.
I know, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm of course talking about James Foster, aka Pylorns.
That's right. That's right. James, welcome, man.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, gee, gosh, guys, I'm all blushing over here. Thanks for thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. All right, so this is exciting. Okay, let me kind of give a little bit of context for this. So, I've talked about it on this show. You guys know I've been enjoying this video game, the Sea of Thieves, and we've got our Squire Scallywags that meet on a weekly.
Such a nerd. I love it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But here's the thing: like, I've been trying to learn more about this game, and so as with many people, I found myself on this website that you may or may not have heard of called Reddit. Now, Reddit, I'm joking, of course, is the front page of the internet, and it is a powerhouse when it comes to various communities that range from the obvious to the obscene. I mean, it's all over the place. However, we've had for Country Squire Radio, a large part of our early growth actually came from the PipeTobacco Reddit subreddit group.
Some of our most committed fans have found out about us through Reddit. Obviously, we have a lot of friends over there. They've been real supportive to us and good, feedback. Gosh, both positive, constructive, all around. But we
positive and constructive, not negative.
And you like that, right? Yeah, you like that's the old politician in me coming out. But no, we just we have such an affinity for those guys over there, and gosh, there's just a lot changing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's the thing, right? So I remember, just to even kind of further this, I mean, our pipe culture series that we do, when we do that series, we very specifically always and intentionally reach out to the subreddit, the PipeTobacco, because of the great community that has been there. So anyway, I'm on there. I'm looking at Sea of Thieves stuff. I download the Reddit app for like the first time ever. I know I'm behind the times. And because I'm subscribed to our pipe tobacco, I start getting notifications. And I'm actually about to go on to share something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something I was excited about that I had learned was going on. And all I see is this post of like, oh, we're going over here. We're going over here. It's like, get out, the house is on fire. Like I couldn't quite understand what was going on. And I was like, man, something is happening right now. And we need someone to explain to us what's going on. So James, what is going on the our pipe tobacco subgroup? Is tobacco being like censored off the internet?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that there's been I guess you could say, a cacophony of events that happened. So on March 22nd, Reddit moved to ban all questionable marketplaces and subreddits. And that includes the usual places you would expect, like deep fakes or adult interactions, things like that. But they also banned the pipe tobacco market, the cigar market, the scotch and whiskey, basically all of the fun stuff, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and airsoft guns. That's right, a kid's toy gun subreddit. They banned that. Now,
they took away my scotch. Hang on, no, the scotch is what really kind of concerns me.
I know, right?
I'm sitting here drinking my scotch right here.
It's just pitiful.
Yeah, Belvini caskmates, by the way. But yeah, no, that's crazy. So what was the reasoning for this? Out of curiosity.
So the interesting thing is, and I'll get to that in a little bit, is they've come back and kind of rehashed their original statement, and what they've done is a big PR kerfluffle, and they totally approached it wrong. And essentially what happened is a lot of people just spit themselves out and started new forums. But all of this comes about because of a bunch of new regulations. You might remember, last month or beginning of this month, we had the whole Facebook privacy stuff. So that there was that going on, and the whole delete Facebook thing. But you also had several regulations that happened. And one of the primary ones that caused this, the Reddit migration, or the great libation migration, was Sesta Fosta. No relation to my last name.
I was about to ask, yeah.
But I happen to know a lot about it. So essentially, prior to Sesta Fosta, if you had a website and the user supplied content on that website, the owner of the website was not liable for in civil court for the content that on their website. So if you own Reddit and you got people posting stuff that's questionable material, the person who providing the space, Reddit themselves, wouldn't be able to be civilly litigated against.
Yeah. So just to, I mean, if you've got some illegal stuff going on your website, or some things that could be construed that way, and you're the one not saying it, but it's happening on your website, then all of a sudden you got an issue here because you're liable for those things.
Exactly. And it's really hard to police when you've got millions of users and things like that. So what they did is they wrote a poorly written piece of legislature that basically says, okay, we're going to make websites liable for their user content, specifically, although it's very vague, related to sex trafficking. The law means it's not just sex workers, it's who already face criminal penalties for their work. It's also the people that run that content.
Yeah.
So publishers will be responsible if third parties are found for posting ads for prostitution, sex work on their platforms, all sorts of stuff. And essentially, the immediate aftermath was that numerous websites took action to censor or ban parts of their platforms in response. Not because those parts of the site actually were promoting ads for prostitutes, etc., but policing against them, against the outside possibility that they might, was just too hard. And that's what happened with Reddit. And compounded that with the other two interesting things that happened all at the same time, or is in the process of happening. On the 25th of this month, GDPR is passing, or is already passing, going into effect. And GDPR is the UK's General Protection Regulation. And essentially, it's got three pieces in it. You have to, if you're going to browse a website in the EU, you have to have consent, the user's consent to have their information tracked, essentially ad tracking, right? So as a user, if I go to a website in the UK, I'm going to get a pop-up that says, we are going to be tracking you, and click on that. Also, I have to have portability. So I have to be able to download the data from that website that's tracked on me, or that's used data mined on me.
Right. Yeah.
And then I have right of erasure, unless there's a legal activity, but then there's a gray area too. So I can be able to request from you as a web provider to delete all of my information. Sounds good, but there's
also
questionable
impossible.
gray area. It's, I mean, here's the thing too, is if a person in the UK decides to go and buy something from, a site in the US, are we in any way going to be pulled into court in the UK because of something that happens in their laws and regulations? I don't know the ins and outs of that. And then lastly, it is, they're trying to regulate the Wild West, but it's not easy and very hard.
Yeah, the cat's kind of out of the bag.
So the last horrible thing that happened, and this really is horrible and probably will cause a lot of you to go into your bunkers, your tobacco bunkers, like I am, is the Cloud Act passed. And the rules for the Cloud Act demand that foreign police, let's see if I can word this right. So U.S. service providers have to provide foreign police with data. So the collection of American data, like Facebook in the UK or whatever, that information can be retrieved by the police force. Okay. Now, once the foreign police have collected Americans' data, they often will hand that over to U.S. law enforcement, which can be used to investigate Americans and ultimately bring criminal charges against them in the United States.
Interesting.
Without the Fourth Amendment, because it was collected in a foreign country. So it allows...
It's kind of circumventing the need for that, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. So my background before going into podcasting was in telecom, and I remember working specifically with state officials about the difficulties when it came to tracking specifically, predators that were going after children and that sort of thing,
which is a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge problem,
right?
And specifically through like text messages, I think at the time was kind of the big focus. But because of they couldn't get the data, and so it does make sense from that standpoint. But the problem, of course, is you're looking at a surgical situation that kind of has these massive ripples beyond kind of what the intent is. I mean, is that fair, Pylorns?
Very much so. Like the FOSTA SESTA, the bill is worded so broadly that it could even be used against platform owners that didn't know their sites are being used for trafficking. And the Department of Justice, our U.S. Department of Justice, is the group urging Congress, or tried to urge Congress, not to expand the criminal law, and they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so bad. So there are some groups here that do a lot of trying to free child slavery, right? That are being, put under prostitution or whatever, being kidnapped, like American people abroad being kidnapped and put into child prostitution. So there are a lot of groups that go try to free these people. Well, the way they do that is they go on some of these places where there's the advertisements for this stuff, and now it's making their job even harder.
Huh.
Wow, so it's actually kind of hurting what the some of the folks that are it's hurting their efforts, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Exactly. All right.
Wow, that's amazing.
So bring it back home to Reddit then. So I mean, so you got the Our PipeTobacco group. You've got kind of these different litigations that are regulations that are going into effect. And as you point out, I mean, they're kind of these broad and somewhat gray in some aspects. So from that standpoint, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Reddit seeing kind of this change happening, and Reddit being Reddit, which is this vast amoeba of content that ranges, like I said, from the ridiculous to the raunchy. Like, they kind of put into effect this like kind of hardcore protect ourselves kind of mode, and in that, tobacco is kind of lumped in. Is that correct?
Yep, okay. Exactly. They removed it all. And who's to say that vices like this won't be more strictly regulated on the internet as we go forward? But yeah, they basically said, we're cutting it off. We're not going to tell you about it ahead of time. We're just cutting it off. And that's what they did. And it caused communities to spit out of the kind of the ownership of Reddit.
So I'm curious though, because I mean, it does seem like the subreddit for Our PipeTobacco is still active. Is there like a grace period, or did they backtrack, or kind of where are things in the subreddit at the moment?
So a massive amount of users went to the new website that the moderators set up, and that's speakeasy.club. So speak-easy.club. And you've got pipe people, you've got your scotch and whiskey people, and you've got your cigar people. And that's where all the marketplaces where people trade and buy and sell and all that stuff. But then a month after, so a month after that, which is really just a couple days ago, we finally got some information that says basically you can link to appropriately licensed vendors on your subreddit. We're not doing the marketplace again because you can't do that.
Which is basically the opportunity to buy and sell and trade tobacco products.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, exactly. So now they're saying, because officially it said even vendors and people linking to vendors would get banned and removed. So our pipe tobacco was in danger of being just banned as well, along with the pipe tobacco market. So our pipe tobacco wasn't banned, but they basically said you have to stop what you're doing right now. Don't post anything about tobacco, don't post about deals or vendors or anything like that. So they've come back and they said, okay, if you're a licensed vendor, you can post links to them, but the vendors themselves can't use Reddit to conduct customer relations, which means that if you're a community manager, you can't go and help people out or answer any questions either. You can't solicit or service transactions.
Wow.
And your subreddit should not offer any styling or features to assist the vendors, blah, blah, blah. The reviews are fine as well, but they have to be moderated very carefully because they're reviews of specific products.
I mean, to some extent, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was always kind of self-regulated. Like if you were somebody going on a subreddit to promote your product or whatever it is,
you probably just get shouted down.
You get voted down pretty quick. I don't know if you saw Black Panther movie, but the character of M'Baku, when somebody was talking when they weren't supposed to talk, he just started barking at them. It's like that's essentially what happens on Reddit when you start to try to promote yourself. It's like no, that's not what you're here for.
That's interesting.
But now it sounds like it's actually more kind of regulated from that standpoint, or regulated from a website.
Yeah,
from within the website.
Yeah, very true. And they essentially Reddit. Our pipe tobacco subreddit really didn't have a lot of vendors actually promoting products at all.
It was always, I ever saw that.
Yeah. In fact, most of the times you'd see Smoking Pipes people and other people answering questions and just being a part of the community, not promoting their products and stuff. Like there's always so many people wanting to look, hey, there's a great deal on this website, or hey, there's a great deal with this vendor or whatever. That's what it was. But for a while, the regulations that Reddit was putting out was saying, no, you post any of that, we're gonna ban your user and shut down your whole subreddit. But since they've had the clarification, none of us ever left per se. We just started a new community where we're kind of free from the overlords of Reddit that are pulling our strings.
Well, and so that's what I think is really fascinating and something to kind of be mindful of. As a content creator myself,
for ourselves,
I mean, we're very cognizant of the fact that when it comes down to it, when you are dependent upon channels to get your content out, to support your community, to get everybody together, to host it, whatever it may be, you are kind of beholden to those channels. And, we see this on YouTube all the time in terms of, YouTube will change kind of like, I say I meant more of like the communal
industry.
Yeah. Like, YouTube will change, the way that analytics and recommended content goes out. And all of a sudden, everybody's like panicking, like, oh, I used to get all these numbers and now they just disappeared because YouTube no longer promotes my content. But the reality is you don't have any control over that. And if you this is no slight, by the way, to YouTubers. I think there's a great online, pipe
obviously
YouTube
we love
everything
it. Yeah.
else. But for people who do kind of the YouTube videos professionally, if you are reliant so heavily upon YouTube, like you're kind of building your house on sand. It's more important to get to the point where you can actually support your own content. We've
That's
seen
difficult. Yeah,
we've seen this on Facebook. You as a shop owner in this industry, man, there's a lot of regulations.
As a retailer in in the premium tobacco industry, even though we're not selling cigarettes or any kind of illegal products or anything, Facebook prohibits shops like the Country Squire from doing any advertising on Facebook. And so, we can't promote our own posts or anything of that nature. And it's always funny because Facebook is constantly, on my personal Facebook, it's saying, hey, you ought to boost this ad. This would get some really good some really good feedback if you boosted this ad. Here's a $15 credit or whatever. And then you always try to do it. And then they email you the next day. It says your thing has been blocked. It's, well, like, quit tempting me.
That's what they do.
Man, it's that's just kind of how it works. But it's fascinating. I'm wondering if, and James, what do you think? Is what we're seeing with Reddit kind of freaking out, and then having to remove all these communities? Do you see that going to other platforms as well? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm actually, just as we're sitting here talking tonight, our very dear friend Portland Paul is not on Facebook, and he's got frustrations with Facebook. I'm getting the point where I can't stand Facebook, dude. But just because it's gotten it's gotten kind of overwhelming, but it is an outlet. It's a way we keep up with so many of our friends and learn about
things that are going on
things
locally.
that are going on in the community. Yeah. Do you see some of this stuff kind of bleeding into that?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Facebook is in the process of continuing to fix the privacy stuff, right? But they're also, they're already blocking tobacco ads. You've got a lot of tobacco groups, pipe smoking groups, and cigar groups that are on Facebook. I think it's only a matter of time before they shut those down as well and say, well, this is a regulated thing. And then, of course, it would affect Instagram as well, since Facebook owns Instagram, which means all of us that have, following of people that are pipe smokers. I mean, you've got a massive group of pipe collectors and pipe makers that are on Instagram. Some pipe makers make a majority of their sales on Instagram. Think about how that's going to be affected when that kind of locks it down. So it brings around the next thing is how do we build a community that's more decentralized, right? How do we embrace some of the new technology, a federated server option or decentralized maybe blockchain, something like that, where ownership is not owned by one company, it's owned by the users. And there's the possibilities of us kind of creating some sort of new community or something in the future that we can kind of latch onto and utilize, and not be in danger of being shut down by a random corporate entity that is beholden to their stocks and their government regulations the same way.
Yeah, whatever interest group they have to bow down to stay in good graces. And this is such a difficult conversation to have, because as Beau and I are proud of, we try to keep this show kind of apolitical. But we are a heavily regulated industry, and so it's one of those things where we do have to at least take time and explore this because it's important to our hobby. And so, I think it's unsettling for a lot of people. We'll find a way forward, but it certainly doesn't look good from a standpoint of where is this where is the current situation going, and it looks like its days might be numbered.
Well, it's funny. I think about like my grandfather is was a lawyer, and he's a very good lawyer. His whole philosophy, which he got from his father, who was a lawyer, was don't worry about the law so much, do the right thing, because 9 times out of 10, you can find a law that will support the right thing, and when you can't find the law that supports the right thing, change the law. And so, one of the reality is, as a kind of a nation of laws, we're also kind of a nation of constantly evolving laws. And so, much like we've kind of seen the evolution of what's been going on in the subreddit, we can kind of see how this ebbs and flows. But you're exactly right. When it comes down to it, like, we have to be in control of the content that we have, like and I think that there is also kind of an entrepreneurial mindset. Like I said, there's a lot of YouTubers that rest too easily on YouTube as if it is going to be the same all day, every day.
Yeah, if it's static,
and be there to support them as opposed to their stockholders, whatever regulations there. Like, but then you also have other YouTubers that have used that as a launching off platform, created their own website where they host their own content. And so you got your YouTube as kind of a way to promote the content that they've got separately. We've talked off mic, John David. I mean, like, I've said before, like, I'm with the growth in podcasting, and you've got now major producers. You have Netflix just released a podcast. You have, like, big names getting into this space, and it is a heavily unregulated space. Like creating Country Squire Radio 4 or 5 years ago probably wouldn't be possible in the 4 to 5 years to come.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're constantly cognizant of changes that are coming to make sure that, and also, you know, one of the reasons why we have changed hosting clients in the past and done as much as we have, I know it's been kind of tenuous or strenuous to our listeners from time to time to have to like unsubscribe, resubscribe when the time calls, but it's so that we have control over that content,
over the content.
We can make sure that, you know, nobody can take that away from us. And if the channels change, if the regulations change, that we can find a way to get it directly to our listeners.
Yeah, and as the pipe community, you know, continues to struggle with this, we have to stay really agile, you know, and get creative about it. It's just interesting to me. You know, we've got, obviously we all, you know, listening, and those of us here tonight, you know, we support, you know, the idea that we need to make it hard for these, you know, terrible, wicked, you know, traffickers to do what they do. Question. I mean, that is so important, and you know, we support that. But you know, it's this kind of ham-fisted way which you start, you know, removing whole swaths of liberty, you know, in order to fix a problem. You start creating, like you mentioned, James, problems for the people that are actually in the fight themselves to get there. You know, so it's just it's frustrating. But you know, we as a highly you know, looked over industry, you know, we're used to this kind of thing, and we'll just keep pivoting in the right direction.
You know, we want to encourage you to, you know, if you're listening, if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy whatever community that you may be a part of, find out how to support it, because by those sources being more independent, it secures more and more the ability to get you content just like this and more that's out there. Pylorans, what are some, you know, you mentioned one of the groups that was formed already, but can you kind of mention some other groups that are out there that people can check out?
Yeah, I mean, we still have some good active forums. So Pipes Magazine forums are still out there, very active community. You've got Brothers of the Briar. You've got there's another website that's a UK website, which who knows how much longer they'll be along, which is like pipesmokers.uk or something like that. You've also, like I said, for now, you've got some Facebook groups. And then you've also got Mastodon. Mastodon is a federated solution to Facebook, and it's more like Twitter/Facebook. It gives you 500 characters to post something, and the servers themselves.
I'm against that. 140 the way God intended. That's my mindset.
Yeah, but who owns the 140 characters?
That's right. That's right.
So
I don't care. 140 characters. Every single conversation should happen over 140 characters. I've pushed back on not updating Twitter for the longest time to maintain myself on the on the 140 characters.
So the last piece of the Mastodon puzzle is that I went and set up a Mastodon instant called pipes.social. So you can join that, and it's all about posting pictures of pipes and talking as a community, right? It's not a ton of people, but it's a federated server. So if you join that, you're also being connected to the other Mastodon instances, and it's kind of like a Facebook group. And you know, you're a member of the group, but you're also going to be members of all these other different groups. And if they shut one federated server down, it doesn't shut down everything, right?
Fascinating. So and that is at pipes.mass or
pipes.social. Pipes.social.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Mastodon platform. This is kind of new to me. So, but I like the, you know, concept of the decentralized, you know, gathering. Yeah.
Well, great deal. Well, hey man, thanks so much, Pylorans, for coming on, kind of letting us know what's been going on the old digital cloud, and speaking some high concept. Hopefully everybody was able to digest it a little bit better. You brought it down to us. Neanderthals.
That's right. And my one word of advice is, if you have a cloud provider, if you got Dropbox or anything like that, encrypt your data.
Yeah.
Encrypt it, please.
All right, brother.
That's interesting, man. Thanks so much for coming on, man. James, such a good friend of the show, and longtime listener and supporter, and good friend of us personally. Man, we appreciate all you do for the pipe community.
Absolutely, and you can follow him at Pylorans on Twitter. Where else can they follow you, brother?
That's it. Or Mastodon. You can follow me at Pylons on Mastodon.
There you go.
There you go. All right, man. Thanks so much for joining us, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys. Let's see as we drop off Pylorns. All right, there we go. Back on the main page. This. We haven't actually done. I don't think since Terry have we actually attempted this style.
Yeah, this kind of setup. Yeah, it's been a long time,
and so it's kind of always interesting to do.
It's a chat. We're having a MacGyver it back here. You're doing it. You're doing a good job.
I'm doing my best.
No, it's always good to talk to James. We know this episode is kind of peculiar maybe for some of you because we're talking about
tech and law
and all this stuff. It's like, how the heck does this relate to pipes and pipe tobacco? We're all enthusiasts here, but we thought it very relevant because so many of you are part of the greater online pipe smoking community, enthusiast community. That's what we are. That's why Beau and I are here. Is because we're a part of this greater online social pipe enthusiast community. And so, what this stuff is affecting us in ways that we don't even understand yet.
It's affecting everybody, man. Did you watch any of the Zuckerberg stuff?
I didn't. I watched, a few clips here and there, but not anything significant.
Okay. Well, it is the reality of our day, just kind of the way that we understand data. And
yeah,
if you haven't actually had the opportunity to watch the interrogation of Mark Zuckerberg, it's a long watch. And there's some really fascinating things that come out of it. And there's also just some really fascinating kind of social observations, especially where, a lot of these people are asking very basic questions, but I think they're asking basic questions that the vast majority of Americans would also ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. It's very representative.
The CEO of Facebook to essentially tech support to some extent. And, but it is the reality of it. Well, I don't want to spoil Westworld, but Westworld's getting into this now in this current season. It's and then you got shows like Black Mirror that are kind of tapping into this.
That's right.
Stuff.
That's right.
It's just great.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the pipe community continues to evolve. We're very, we may be crusty old pipe smokers, but we are agile and creative and very resourceful, and so we continue to evolve with it. And hey, what one great pipe manufacturer and community and obviously storied maker that continues to evolve, even though it is an old dog and is constantly learning new tricks. That, of course, is Missouri Meerschaum.
Did you just transition to a Missouri Meerschaum?
I tried really hard.
Has that ever happened on the history of the show?
I don't think it has, but it just felt right, and I went with the spirit.
No. That was good. It was. For a first timer, I'm impressed. No, I'm impressed.
No, it was all right. Yeah,
that was good.
So I'm gonna continue now.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Of course. Tell people about.
I want some critique after, okay, or maybe during, like you're giving me now. Yeah,
that's great. Tell people about the good folks at Missouri Meerschaum.
We're so thankful for our folks at Friends at Missouri Meerschaum, and tonight the show is sponsored by the Cole Younger Corncob Pipe.
Any relation?
No, actually, maybe I should name my firstborn that. Although Cole Younger was basically a bank robber and just scoundrel robbing stagecoaches and whatnot.
Oh wow!
And so but man, this is part of the whole outlaw series that Missouri Meerschaum's come out with. Of course, they're constantly pushing the envelope here. And we're so grateful for them. I'll read you their description. Coal Valley Pipe Company and Missouri Meerschaum Company have collaborated, Crow Valley Pipe Company and Missouri Meerschaum Company have collaborated to introduce the Outlaw series of corncob pipes, a new addition to our popular family of nose warmer style pipes. Cole Younger, part of the James Younger gang and a fellow bushwhacker with Jesse James during the Civil War, robbed banks, trains, and stagecoaches. And the Cole Younger pipe was inspired by the shape of a stagecoach and features a wide nickel band. This is part of their kind of, Missouri Meerschaum's effort on bringing out some really unorthodox, kind of interesting styles. They have got this beautiful nickel band, a really high, high grade stem on this particular pipe. It does have kind of the chimney of a one of those old fashioned locomotives kind of going, which is really nice. And of course the Outlaw signature there on the side of the pipe. And so just a really cool thing. It's these are statement making pipes with of course the the quality that you would expect from Missouri Meerschaum.
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful looking pipes. You got to check it out. If you've got the Cole Younger, not to be confused with the future child that does not exist. They're not making an announcement.
The younger Cole, right?
Yeah. At some point
there is no announcement.
Okay,
right?
But yeah, get the Cole Younger and smoke it this week. Take a picture of yourself when you do. We love to retweet that out because it lets the good folks at Missouri Meerschaum know you appreciate them for sponsoring this show. All right, man. We've got a pipe question of the week that comes in from Eric Dingler. All right. Eric wants to know, post McClelland at PM. Post McClelland.
Yeah, right.
What would be a match for Holiday Spirit?
Yeah, interesting. McClelland Holiday Spirit, this was their aromatic tobacco that never changed from year to year. It was just a real consistently popular tobacco, one of those things that they kept coming out with over and over. A couple that I would recommend from the Sutliff company that might be good to check into is their Sutliff Butter Pecan and then also the Sutliff Cinnamon. These are two tobaccos that I think are pretty close, and they have some interesting characteristics to them. The moisture level is similar. They're going to burn similarly. The flavors, again, it's hard to meet that McClelland distinctive. You open up the tin and you just know it's a McClelland. But I think those are two tobaccos that might be worth looking into. The Sutliff Cinnamon and Sutliff Butter Pecan. Again, Holiday Spirit, just like so many McClelland blends, were so unique and interesting. You had notes of maple and vanilla and pecan and caramel all packed into one blend, and so it's hard to mimic that. But anyway, those are some starting places for you. Sutliff has a lot of really interesting options, and they're the moisture content in some of their tobaccos is similar to what you would find in some of the McClelland tobaccos. So check those out. Some of those are not available in tins; they're only available in the bulk variety. But you can get those from your favorite tobacconist. So check that out.
Man, Holiday Spirit. I remember. I think the first time I had
good
that
tobacco, man. Great aromatic.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong, but I think the first time I had it was actually in Austin, Texas, and at the at the Briarworks show there.
Yeah.
And I remember I busted it out. I just gotten that unfinished Savinelli pipe, and I was it was the first tobacco that I had in it, and I was sitting in this room. They're kind of their pipe smoking lounge. It was pretty much all cigar smokers for the most part at that moment. I bust this thing open, I light it up, and everybody, all these like hardcore cigar smokers stop what they're doing and look at me. And I'm thinking, oh man, they're gonna I'm smoking an aromatic. But they were like, it just became Christmas in here. Like, what is that? Like, everybody was so intrigued and like got hungry all of a sudden.
You're the guy, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Aromatic's not so,
that's right. That's the ones that
very respectable.
That's the thing. We make aromatics smokers are the ones that make their companions happy, right?
That's right.
So we're all about that.
Livened up the room a little bit. It was good. It was really good. But anyway, great suggestions, John David, and great questions, Eric. And hey, if you've got a pipe question of the week, be sure to send it in to us. You can send it to us, show@countrysquireradio.com. Quick fire questions. Ow! All right, man. Quick fire questions coming in. Of course, brought to us by the Tin Society. More on the Tin Society in just a moment. All right, so this continues the questions that we got in last week from Anonymous, not the online organization. I feel like in this episode we should be very
we should actually be
that.
Clear about that.
Yeah,
right?
no. But Anonymous, this is someone who sent them in, did not want to be named. All right, so this is all about steak. Are you ready?
Ooh, a steak-related quickfire segment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bring it. Yeah.
All right, strip or ribeye?
Strip.
Yes, all the way.
10 times out of 10. Yeah. Strip.
Pan on the stove or grilled?
Pan. I'm gonna say seared on the pan, and ideally, seared on the pan and then put in the oven for a few minutes. Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. In my youth,
grilled.
All the way grilled. Like, it's like grilled. Kind of that.
You get to set stuff on fire.
Yeah, man.
Right.
And I mean, like, you've got that whole being out in nature and cooking up some meat and everything else, and it's good stuff. But then when you start like unlocking the flavors and learn how to like really like cook a controlled steak and make it perfectly, oh my gosh. Yeah. So like pan, but specifically a cast iron pan.
Yeah, you gotta use that cast iron skillet.
That's right. That way you at least still feel like you're getting those man vibes.
Right.
Like, you know, when you have to think. Medium or medium rare?
I'm a medium guy. I have been for a long time. I occasionally I'll try medium rare, but I my comfort level is at medium.
It depends on if I'm cooking it or if I'm at a restaurant. And it depends on the restaurant. You know what I mean?
That's fair. So do you trust yourself more or the restaurant more?
I tend to trust myself more. It switched. I used to trust the restaurant more, and then I trust I tend to trust myself more.
Okay.
But in general, medium rare is my ideal.
Yeah.
But some restaurants I'll tell them rare because I know they can
do it.
Yeah. Steak sauce or no sauce?
No sauce.
No sauce. If you have to use steak sauce, you are not doing it right.
You're right.
Salt, pepper, you're good. That's it. Maybe a little bit of butter. Get some rosemary on the side. Not sprinkle it on it. Just cook it next to it in the pan. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But no steak sauce. Veggies on the side or starch on the side?
Probably starch. You know, I mean, if we're talking like mashed potatoes or something, I mean, doggone, man.
Why do you have to choose, though?
Yeah,
I know that's the game.
In a perfect world, you should have to have all of the above, right? But I don't know, like corn on the cob, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, corn on the cob is good.
Yeah.
So if I had to choose between the two, I would go start. Like you say, you got to get the potatoes. Get a good sweet potato in there, or maybe some roast potatoes.
You just feel like a nap afterward. You know, you eat a steak, you just want to know you ate something substantial.
Yeah, steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
I do like, I like to make sure that it's typically like potatoes and then maybe a couple of vegetables, so some asparagus or some Brussels sprouts, something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff. All right, and then to drink with your steak, beer or wine?
Wine. 8 times out of 10, I'd say wine. Heavy, dry, red, Cabernet. I mean, just as much tannin as you can pack in there. I want to leave my mouth dry and bold and all that. Man, bring on the red wine.
For me, it is high quality bourbon. Because typically, if I'm getting,
that's not even an
I know. I'm just saying, like typically for me, it's high quality bourbon. Because if I'm making a steak, that means my wife and kids are out of town. My wife is such a health nut, man. So like if I'm having steak, they're out of town, and so I invest in a really high quality bourbon to go along with it. That being said, between the two, probably wine. I feel like wine would kind of bring out the flavors more, whereas there are some really good beers to pair with steak. I'll put it this way: if I'm having ribeye, then I'll have a beer. If I'm having strip, I'll have wine. Since I chose strip, I'm going wine.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. That's acceptable.
Man, this have been some Anonymous has been hooking us up, man.
Now I'm hungry.
Questions.
Jeez.
But of course, these questions are not just brought to you by Anonymous, but in fact, the good folks at the Tin Society.
That's right.
tinsociety.com. Now, this is an amazing online service where you can get pipe tobaccos that are actually shipped to your door on a monthly basis. We're talking great premium samples of various tobaccos that you may or may not have tried, constantly expanding your palate in the most modern and innovative way possible. Can I say that? I think that's fair.
Absolutely. Of course, that's fair. Yeah, man, what they're doing is very innovative, and of course, it brings the modern subscription box concept to the pipe community, and they do a fantastic job of it. Matter of fact, our friend Maple City Pipecast tonight on our Twitter feed, he's actually got he's listening to Country Squire Radio, and he's got his box open with his Tin Society subscription there, the shipment that just came in, and of course, they do such a good job. You feel like you've gotten something really special when you open the box, and of course, you'll have a variety of tobaccos that you may or may not have tried. The great thing is you get a chance to sample them, see if you like them, and then if you do, invest in more, which is great. So you're not committing to a whole tin of tobacco each time, but it really does give you the opportunity to try some new and interesting things, and maybe expand your palate and try some things that you wouldn't otherwise. So they do a good job, very professional. And of course, when you sign up at tinsociety.com, use the code SQUIRE, you'll get 20% off your first month's service. And again, that's tinsociety.com. All
right, man. Listener feedback. We got some great listener feedback in this week. First one is from iTunes. From W.H. Jeffries. Says, fantastic podcast. This has quickly become my favorite podcast out of the many that I listen to daily and weekly. The podcast mainly centers around pipe smoking, but will also touch on a love of our beloved Southern culture, from football, don't know what show you're listening to front porch sitting, and to strapping on the feed bag at the church picnic. Now that does sound like us. All brought to you by the Squire of Pipe Tobacco I'm sorry. Let me say that again. All brought to you by the Squire of the pipe tobacco world, Mr. John David Cole, and his trusty sidekick and court jester, Mr. Beau Yorkie. Keep them lit, gentlemen. Again, that is from W.H. Jeffries, who is a PCA deacon and a fellow Hobbit.
Fantastic. We need more of that in our life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned football from time to time.
Yeah.
Which is good because that's the one they play on ice, and if they get a 3-pointer, then that's how you know
with the bat,
yeah,
right?
And they shout Yahtzee, and that's how they made a rugby.
Right.
Next one up, man. We got one from Wendell. What did Wendell
Man,
say?
yeah, Wendell. He says, I listen to the show on Apple Podcast app. I love it, but I hear you talk about boodles. This is great. Don't know if that is a local thing or lingo for something else. Can you explain? Feel free to laugh at and have fun that I don't know. Also, the Largo tobacco is as you described. Got a bag a couple of years ago, and I, like Beau, can't even smell it. He says, I think it really is roll your own stuff. I think the taxes are less by calling it pipe tobacco. Anyway, great show, driving to work. Thanks, Wind. And so, Wendell, yeah, this is great. So Boodles, for longtime listeners of Country Squire Radio, they would know. But yeah, Boodles, man, this is some fantastic gin. It's London dry gin. It's one of the gins that was a favorite of Sir Winston Churchill. It is my favorite go-to gin, and probably the official drink of Country Squire Radio, or maybe the unofficial drink. It's a well venerated drink. It's a venerated drink.
Yeah,
on Country Squire
I mean,
Radio.
it's almost like a third character on the show to some extent.
At some point, it is. Like I
want that Boodles money before we start using some of the lingo you just used. Boodles, call us.
I know. If you work at Boodles, we have your best interest.
Or just
at heart.
bring us to London. Like, just take us to
Country Squire Radio meets Boodles in London. But yeah, Boodles is great, man. I'm a gin drinker, particularly during the summertime, and man, I just love the stuff. So anyway, that's where that comes from. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that. Maybe one of my favorites.
That's pretty great. It's like, where are they talking about Boodles, and then they're talking about poodles, and like, what is all this?
Boodles and poodles,
man. Yeah, and also on our Twitter tonight, of course, at Brian Spence, he says, how can you leave out Malta Dolce? My fingers are still stained from it. It's great. Brian, of course, talking about a tobacco that is similar to the holiday spirit from McClellan, Malta Dolce. Great suggestion there to check out. I think, again, talk about highly venerated tobacco. As far as an aromatic goes, it's just so incredibly popular. And of course, that's from the Sutliff Company, part of their private stock line. So.
Yeah, man. Well, look, this has been a really interesting episode. You're right. It's a special one because obviously it's a little bit. Yeah. It may seem on the fringes, but the reality is that the data situation is kind of something that impacts all of us. And being the fact that we are a digitally broadcast podcast, it obviously impacts us directly from that standpoint. And so we want to encourage you. If you enjoy the show, one of the things we have been cognizant of since the very beginning is making sure that we're able to control our content, and we want to continue to do that. So, one of the best ways that you can help support the show to make sure that we can kind of have that longevity, maintain kind of control over our content, no matter what changes may come in the industry, is of course by supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/Country Squire Radio, becoming a club member, or even just becoming a patron at $1. It all goes a long way, and we greatly appreciate it. And we don't echo this enough, but the reality is going and buying products from the folks that sponsor this show. I mean, we know that many of you do, but not just that, let them know, like, hey, really appreciate Tin Society, Missouri Meerschaum. We really appreciate you guys so much for sponsoring Country Squire Radio. I'll let them know. Hit them up on email, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of good stuff. And it goes a long way as well. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of mention that as we close out what has been Technology 101.
Yeah, that's right. Technology meets pipes, but not in that like e-pipe way where you put the little pipe stuff in your electronic pipe, and then we're thoroughly against that.
Yeah. Well, says the guy that brought on the coffee brewing pipe thing, which honestly seems
that was a wedding gift. I was paying thanks to some people, but I haven't used it. It's going to go in our little. It's going to go in our little the brew pipe. It's going to go in our eventually our little quirky collection of pipe related things at our shop.
You know how like hate and love, they seem so far opposed, but they're so close to each other. I feel like the e-pipe and
right
that are like the same deal. They're clearly so different, but they're kissing cousins.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you would love to join us for a live show sometime. We've had a lot of fun doing this one here from the Podastery Studios, but we'll be back at the Country Squire next week. And of course, you can join us live at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern at countrysquireradio.com. You can also keep up with us throughout the week on Twitter. I'm at The Real Beau York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
And of course, the show's handle is @Squire Radio. And for those of you going to Chicago, be sure to look for John David, find him, take a selfie, tweet those out, use the hashtag #FindJD. I'm going to be looking for him. So
I'm going to have like my ball cap on and like some sunglasses. I'll put a fake mustache. Like, I'll be that guy.
Yeah, look, from that standpoint, then just look for the really short guy who's trying to cover up his massive amounts of hair.
Right, and also his massive amounts of hair and his huge tote bag full of pipes he's bringing home for the shop. So
that's good stuff. Of course, all that information and more can be found at Country Squire Radio and contact information and more. I think I just said that. So yeah, man, it's been a good show,
dude. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, man.
Special thanks, of course, to Pylorns for joining us.
Right.
His name's Foster. Obviously an expert and someone who's very passionate about a lot of these different convergences of different industries and standards and things that are going on. Obviously some of the sites that he mentioned we haven't had a chance to vet out or anything like that.
Yeah,
so just, clearly just kind of his own suggestions. But we always appreciate him coming up on the show as a longtime listener and someone who has supported us, and even, like I said at the top, man, created the pipe mic.
That's right. Golly,
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
That's family, man. That's part of the family.
Absolutely. So shouts out to him. And man, I think that's gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in live. We appreciate y'all.
We had a great time. Yeah, it was really, really good. Thanks for sticking with us through all the tech stuff and everything. But
actually went pretty smoothly. Right?
It was good. I think it was good.
Editing is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a disaster. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Guys.